Bhishma is visited by Yudhishthira, Pandavas along with Krishna. Looking at Yudhishthira, he says, how unjustly you've all been treated. So many hardships were faced by Kunti, your mother, and all of you. And all of is only due to time, due to destiny, due to what is ordained, because nothing can be changed. He says, Sarvam kalakritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yadvashe loke vayoriva ghanavalihi. Just as clouds form and disperse on their own through the movement of time, similarly, various events come and go. They are all ordained. One cannot stop it. This is how destiny is. Nobody can escape what they are ordained to go through. No one can also discover the will of Krishna, who's standing right there. Many suffering visits upon pious beings, which is actually a blessing, and sometimes many comforts come to those who are seemingly unrighteous. That is actually a curse, because all the comforts lull them into further and further attachment, and then they are thereby falling deeper and deeper into the darkness of ignorance, whereas suffering makes one not be attached to the impermanent and thereby awaken. So that's why Bhishma says here that we cannot ever understand the will of the Supreme, because it is also not so black and white, in that there are those who are very pious, who also sometimes live in comfort, but they are able to not be attached to it. There are many examples of that too, such as Janaka and so on. Only thing is, know for certain that everything that happens according to the will of the Supreme. And therefore, simply surrender unto this will and protect everyone as the king now. So that's the instruction he first gives Yudhishthira after expressing empathy for his suffering, for the suffering of the Pandavas, for all the challenges they have gone through, and instructing him that everything happens as ordained, and one cannot use one's logic to figure out the cause and effect of what happens. Therefore, he says, Tasmad idam daivatantram vyavasya bharatarshava tasyanu vihito nata pahi prajav prabhu. So that is the duty of the king. He says, Anatha nata pahi praja prabhu. So those who are helpless, those who need help, provide them help to the best you can, while recognizing that everything happens by the divine providence as ordained by the divine will. So that is already a beautiful instruction to not just Yudhishthira but everyone, because we normally, the mind that is caught in time thinks always through cause and effect, and we think this caused that and this will cause that. But that's why Yudhishthira is told here by Bhishma that cause and effect is itself only an illusion. One cannot truly fathom, because each moment, every single event is independent and it's as ordained. So there is an apparent cause and effect, but that apparent cause and effect cannot be fathomed, because one time a particular event results in a certain cause or a certain effect, and then the same doesn't have the same effect another time, and that seems bewildering. only until we recognize that cause and effect itself is an illusion. All there is just what is ordained, and that unfolds with perfect independence. So there is no constraint on it, including the constraint of cause and effect. Everything happens as ordained in total freedom. And if we recognize this freedom of the Supreme and not separate ourselves from it as a separate me, but simply abide by the freedom of the Supreme, then that freedom is all there is. If we separate ourselves from it, then there is bondage. So therefore Yudhishthira is told, simply abide by the will of the Supreme. Then now he addresses Krishna. He tells Yudhishthira, you may think he is your friend, your well-wisher, your counselor, your envoy, your charioteer, all of that. But in reality, he is the Supreme Being, Bhagavan himself. He is none other than Narayana, who is deluding the world by his own Maya, living incognito. It's a nice verse. He says, Yeshavai Bhagavan Sakshad Adyo Narayanah Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Godascharati Vrishnishu. Sakshat Bhagavan Narayana, who has descended in this form, and he is simply through his own Maya deluding everyone, and so people think of him in various ways, and yet he is the Supreme. Everyone knows this who is truly realized. So he gives a few examples of Narada, Kapila, himself, and most importantly, he says Shiva knows it too. And then he says he is the soul of the universe who looks upon all with the same eye, one without a second, free from ego, blemishless, with no sense of diversity with regard to his activities. He says Sarvatmana Samadrisho Hi Advayasya Anahankrutehe Tatkritam Mativaishamyam Nirvadyasya na Kvachit. So every adjective is very beautiful again. Sarvatmanaha means he is the soul of all. Everyone is essentially the same substance. We may be made of different types of various qualities, but all the qualities have as their ground of being the same essence, and therefore that essence, which is the ground of being, which alone manifests as infinitely diverse qualities, attributes, and so on, that essence is him. Samadrisho means the one who has the sameness of vision. So therefore the vision of the supreme essence is the same. Just as the sun is the same for the whole of earth, similarly the vision of the one who is not identified with the body, who is not caught in me and mine, who is a sage, is the same. And then naturally the Supreme Lord Krishna, of course, is free of any such notion of me and mine, and therefore that's why he says anahankritehe, he is free of the ego. So ego is the conditioning which is causing the attachment of me and mine, and that conditioning is what makes us get deluded into partial identification with various qualities or attributes, or the body, or people around, or ideas, and all the rest. So when all of that is not there, there is no sense of me or mine, So he says anahankriti. Ahankrita means ahankara, which is the ego, the sense of me. Literally means the sense of me. Aham means me. Anaham means no me. So the one with no sense of me. And yet he makes everything happen blemishlessly, that is flawlessly, and there is no sense of diversity in his activities. And the other aspect he also highlights is he is full of compassion, because even though his vision is the same, the one who turns to him, he is full of compassion and grace. And therefore you can see his grace in that he has come here to see me. So even though outwardly it was Yudhishthira who wanted to go and see Bhishma, and because of that everyone came and Krishna also came along. Everything is of course orchestrated by Krishna. So therefore Bhishma knows that it was Yudhishthira, it was Krishna rather, who made Yudhishthira bring everyone there. And therefore he says, look at his compassion, that for those who are devoted to him, he appears whenever it's necessary, and he has appeared in front of me right now as I am about to leave the body. He says, Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu pashya bhupa anukampitam yenme asuns tyajatah sakshat krishno darshanam agatah. He says, anukampitam means one who is full of grace. Literally, it means one who is empathetic or one who moves along. So, affection is what anukampa means. Kampa means that which shaking is called kampa. That's why earthquake is called bhukampa. So, anukampa means he shakes. If one is having any suffering, it naturally, if it affects the other one, that he also feels the same, then that is called anukampa. So that is compassion. That is when there is empathy, that others suffering instantly has the effect here, then that's compassion. So he says he's so compassionate that as I am about to leave the body, he has come here to give his darshan. And then he says the one who casts off his body, one who leaves his body with his thought and mind fixed on the Supreme Being with devotion, chanting his name, is rid of all hankerings and released from bondage. He says, Bhaktya aveshya mano yasmin vacha yan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karma bihi. So the yogi who leaves his body, tyajan kalevaram means body, the one who departs his body in this manner, mano yasmin vacha yan nama kirtayan, so whose mind is completely devoted in the Supreme, his tongue is having the name of the Supreme, and with devotion and surrender at the moment of passing, if one leaves the body, that yogi is liberated. He says, Muchyate means he is freed, he is liberated. Therefore, he concludes this portion of prayers by saying, May the Supreme Lord, who is adorable for all, possessed of 4 arms, whose lotus-like countenance beams with gracious smiles, and who has lotus-like eyes, who appears only in meditation truly, may he stay on as I leave my body. So he says, Sa Deva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomyaham Prasanna Hasa Aruna Lochana Ullasa Sanmukhambujo Dhyana Patascha Chaturbhujaha. So, this is how this prayer of Bhishma in this portion concludes.